Imagine hearing the first human word ever spoken. Not recorded. Not recorded down. Just one sound, floating through the darkness. More than 100,000 years ago. A sound nobody had ever heard before. A sound that changed everything. Because before that moment, nobody could truly speak. Not the way you and I do. Not with language. Imagine a small group gathered around a fire. The night is cold. The flames are weak. The darkness is everywhere. Something moves beyond the edge of the light. Nobody knows how to describe it. They can point, they can gesture, they can make noises, but they cannot share ideas. There are no names, no stories, no conversations about yesterday, no plans for tomorrow, no myths, no history, no way to explain what exists only inside the mind. Then something extraordinary begins to happen, slowly. Scientists believe language may be the most important invention in human history. Without it, almost everything we call civilization disappears. No books, no science, no governments, no religions. Every city, every nation, every technology, every idea may ultimately trace back to language, which raises an astonishing question. What was the first word? Nobody knows, and we may never know. Language leaves almost no fossils behind. Bones survive, words do not. You can excavate a spear, you can excavate a skull. You cannot excavate a conversation. Language is made of sound, and sound disappears almost instantly. Every sentence ever spoken by ancient humans vanished the moment it was heard, except for its effects. So scientists became detectives, searching for clues in places words never expected. Some clues came from bones, others came from genetics, still others came from the structure of the brain itself. One of the most important clues sits inside your throat, a tiny structure called the hyoid bone. The hyoid helps control movements involved in speaking. Without it, language becomes far more difficult. For decades, scientists wondered whether ancient humans possessed the anatomy needed for speech. The answer surprised them. Neanderthals appeared to possess a hyoid bone remarkably similar to ours. That changed everything. If Neanderthals could physically produce language, then language may be far older than we once believed. Then genetics delivered another surprise. A gene called FOXP2. The media called it the language gene. Scientists hated that description, but the discovery was still extraordinary. People with damaged versions of FOXP2 often struggle to speak. When researchers examined Neanderthal DNA, they found the same important mutations. Suddenly, the timeline became much older. Language wasn't a recent invention. Something had been developing for hundreds of thousands of years, perhaps even longer. But anatomy alone cannot explain language. A parrot can produce words. It doesn't understand them. The real mystery was never sound. The real mystery was meaning. How does a noise become an idea? How does a sound become a symbol? Animals communicate. Humans do something stranger. A dog growls because it feels threatened. The growl is the message. Humans can create arbitrary symbols, a sound that represents something invisible. The word danger doesn't sound dangerous. We simply agree that it means danger. That may seem normal, but it is one of the strangest things humans do. Every word you know is a shared hallucination, a sound carrying invisible meaning. At some point, our ancestors crossed a line no other species has fully crossed. Communication became language. Signals became symbols. And once symbols existed, the world changed forever. For the first time, humans could describe things that weren't present. Yesterday, tomorrow, elsewhere. They could talk about the dead. They could imagine the future. They could share experiences they had never personally witnessed. Knowledge began to accumulate. Some scientists believe gestures came first. Words came later. Children point before they speak. That detail may contain a clue. Perhaps the first language was spoken with hands, not voices. Then voices took over. Because voices work in darkness. Because voices work at a distance. Because voices leave the hands free. Once language emerged, evolution began accelerating. Stories became possible. Teaching became possible. Culture became possible. A discovery no longer died with its discoverer. It could be passed on. One generation could build on another. Knowledge could grow. This changed humanity more than any physical adaptation. More than stronger muscles. More than faster running. Language turned individual brains into a network. Thousands of minds became one system. Ideas could now survive longer than people. That had never happened before. The first villages depended on language. The first civilizations depended on language. Every law, every religion, every nation depends on language. Even money depends on language. Its value exists because people agree it exists. Language allowed strangers to cooperate. That is one of humanity's superpowers. A wolf pack can coordinate. A human civilization can coordinate millions. Language made that possible. And language may have started with a single word, which brings us back to the mystery. What was it? Was it a warning? Something like danger. Was it a name? The first label ached to a person. Was it food? Fire? Water? Nobody knows. Every answer remains speculation. Yet many scientists suspect the first words were practical. Survival usually comes first. Perhaps someone pointed into the darkness and finally ached a sound to the threat. Perhaps someone named fire or named another human being. Perhaps language didn't begin with a word at all. Perhaps it began with a shared idea. A moment when two minds realized they understood the same symbol. That moment may be the true birth of language, not the sound, the understanding. Because language is not noise. Language is shared meaning. And every conversation you have today traces back to that ancient breakthrough. Every text message, every story, every book, every promise. All of them began when humans discovered how to place thoughts inside sounds. And somewhere in the darkness, the first human word changed the world forever. We will probably never know the first human word, but we are still living inside its consequences. Every message, every book, every civilization, all traced back to one ancient breakthrough. A moment when two minds understood the same idea. If that made you wonder, choose another video. The next mystery is waiting.